cholesterol. It's the natty's testosterone. That's your steroids. It really is.
Hello, carnivores, and welcome to session number 58 of the #1 bodybuilding podcast in the United Kingdom. We are thrilled to be joined by the natural bodybuilding legend himself, John Arnold, who is an IPE professional bodybuilder from Liberty, Missouri. He is the co-owner of Natural Build Fitness LLC, and he has 65 years. Or like 70, I'm not really sure. We were talking about that before, but I'm sure he'll straighten us out on what the grand total is. Of combined training experience with his wife Becky. So he's promoted several bodybuilding competitions in the United States. He's also been a judge of over 170 bodybuilding shows, many of which were pro shows, of which he was the head judge. My wife, Taylor, and I reached out to Mr. Arnold several years ago when we started the SuperSetYourLife.com podcast, which is our other show. That's our workout podcast, still growing strong there. This week, we are talking all about mental health and spiritual health. We're talking about relationships. Episode 256 is already recorded, and I scheduled it to publish this Friday. So if you're subscribed to that show, you won't miss that one. So way back to episode 4 of that show, Taylor and I reached out to Mr. Arnold for his time on our show because we were relatively new to coaching athletes on ketogenic diets at the time. Check it out if you're new to keto and carnivore bodybuilding. Lately, we've been receiving questions on ketoacidosis, macro ratios, and peak week protocols for competition bodybuilders. So I reached out again, and he is generously willing to come on to our nutrition show that Mark and I launched since then, a little over a year ago. 2 quick things before we jump into the meat. Number 1, here's our Spotify podcast review of the week. Erica Sutter MS, speed and strength coach, author, Hall of Famer, and college All-American. Her Instagram is @FitSoccerQueen. She is from Sarasota, Florida. On session number 57, she said, "I can't help but think of how my college soccer performance would have been way better not doing 300 grams of carbs a day. My mental health was awful in college, and my acne was at its worst. If only I knew what I knew now." Shame on whoever told you that you can't go low carb in college, Erica. I wish that I knew this a long time ago as well. The hockey tournaments that I've played in since going keto carnivore have been great. I would not want to play in a tournament and eat carbs in the same weekend knowing what I know now. Thank you for writing in. All right, and then number 2, we kick off every single Carnivore Coaches Corner recording with an L.I.S.S, which is actually a play on words. It stands for listening. It stands for listener inspiring success story, not for low intensity steady state cardio. Don't worry, because I know that none of us are fans of that. So this week's L.I.S.S is from Danielle Fischer. She is a WNBF professional bodybuilder and a client of mine. She is competing at Worlds this year. We are actually both competing together at the same show in 13 weeks. We will be getting this. We've been getting this question a lot. What do you pack for snacks when you travel? Personally, I'm not like really much of a snacker. I like to eat gigantic meals, but Danielle has really got this one down. So I thought that I would share what she has been doing. I'm going to play that recording right now.
I sometimes make beef jerky, and I sometimes have that as a snack. Like after, it's like a treat for me. It's like a dessert, my beef jerky that I make. It's basically I just take like top rounds and I just slice it thin, and I put it in the dehydrator overnight with like salt on it, and I consider that a dessert. And I package it up with like 2 ounces bags. And then it's all weighed out, so I can just grab a bag, and I feel like I'm not missing out, if that makes any sense to you. Like,
perfect. Yeah.
I know that I should, and this will be eliminated like as probably June 1st comes after this weekend, because I am gonna make some for this weekend, so I don't feel like I'm missing out. I know that sounds stupid, but sometimes I do have like a FOMO, just because everybody else is doing it. But I have my bags, and I love it, and I feel like I'm eating desserts.
Thank you very much for submitting your success story, Danielle. And actually, she did not submit that this time. That was a recording from part of our last check-in. So, listeners, normally our listeners submit them in. So, listeners, if you are a carnivore with an inspiring success story, contact Coach Mark or myself, and we will get your message out where people need to hear it. The carnivore community is growing across the globe. The more we all share what's working for us, the more we will continue to learn and grow from each other. Mr. Arnold, welcome to our news show, sir. Our other show. What have you been up to lately?
Well, typical of my life, it's been promoting shows. I've already done my show in the early part of the year, the Natural Southern States. Judged 2 shows so far: Iowa, Minnesota. Going to Arkansas this next week. I got a grandson since the last time I talked to you, as you can kind of tell behind me. And I've been really, really busy.
I think I hear him. What's his name?
Oh yeah, his name's Luke. He's a pistol. I'll tell you that right now. But
very noisy. Hear him
oh yeah, he'll be 4 here in about a few weeks. So he's at that point, But yeah, we watch him. Becky watches him, whatever. So I told her, so you're gonna have to go outside. No problem. But yeah, so essentially, and I think last time I talked to you too, Colt, and we were just talking about this, pre-show. I may have not been the VP yet of the federation. Not real sure at that point, but that's kind of a new role. So yeah, and adding on
I was going to say thank you for.
Right?
I was going to say thank you for adding that to your title too on the screen.
No, I thought,
so could you elaborate on that a little bit, because that has definitely changed since we recorded last.
Right. Well, I'm going to say it might have been 2018. I think Fred Roulette, he retired basically from being the president, and so they just elected a whole new group, and and I put my hat in the ringer for VP. And I think Katie Wayman White kind of ran it, a couple of years, whatever. It didn't work out great there, but it's now it's Ryan Irwin. He's been the president ever since then. So I'm gonna say that was probably right around 2020, 2021. Becky became the treasurer. Ryan used to be the treasurer, so we kind of changed some roles around, whatever. So there's been a lot of changes. It really, the back office of our federation is totally different. I mean, from the outward appearance of competitors, they wouldn't really know that. I mean, we've had to improve our websites and social media, all this stuff coming together. So, yeah, we've revamped a lot of things, made us more efficient.
Right.
We're running more like a real tight ship business, if you want to call it. Yes, sir.
Wow. How's Katie Wayman White doing? Have you talked to her recently? It's been forever since I talked to her, and I love her because she taught me everything I know about posing.
Right. Oh yeah, Katie's a great posing coach. Absolutely. Yeah, she's still in Seattle doing her deal up there. I think she host the Worlds for you guys, WNBF out there. Is that right? I think she did. I know it was in Seattle.
I'm not sure who hosted Worlds this last year. I'm hoping to go this year. Danielle's competing there, and so I want to go and
there you go.
coach you through it. Unless I get my WNBF card miraculously somehow before then and have the opportunity to compete at Worlds, that would be cool. We'll see.
That would. Absolutely.
Cool.
It took me about 15 years.
Speaking of Danielle, what? Okay, good. I don't feel so bad then. I've done 12 shows and I've come really close, like a lot of times, man. I like getting second and third place, but I don't know, man. Sometimes I'm just happier getting fourth or fifth place, because when you get second or third and you get so close and you just don't quite get it, that's what makes you come back that much harder though, and take the next prep that much more seriously, right?
I was you. Same thing. I'd get it maybe in an overall, not win the overall, and it was, oh my God, I was always like that second, third, first here and there. My height class, just had to keep grinding.
Lose to the lightweight guy.
Yeah, exactly. But that's kind of the sport, and I tell you what, I think that's probably, like you say, I think it's tougher when you're at that point where you're just about there, but you just can't get over the hump, and you're trying everything, trying to figure out what's going on, and seeking help and all the above. So yeah, that can eat at you. But the thing is, like, I look at it this way. I remember I finally got mine at 50 years old, and I'm like, well, I'm probably past my prime being able to compete open wise, but I did get an open card, which was interesting. But so I actually ended up gravitating towards the Masters Pro stuff, so had a lot of fun with that. The old guys.
Yeah. Fantastic. I just had an athlete step on stage on Saturday. Her name's Jill, and she took fourth in the Open and third in Masters. So
Wow. Yeah.
love that they have a Masters option too. That was NPC. That was the California State Championships in Anaheim.
Wow.
Back to what Danielle was saying about snacking. Is that something that you do? Is that something that you recommend with your clients and when they're traveling? How do you help them stay on their diet when they ask that question? Is that a question that you get asked?
Essentially, what you can do is tell them, as long as it's something that you're not going to cause an insulin response. If it's it can be some type of meat product or whatever, that's fine. I mean, if you're not that close to the show, you have to worry about, as far as the balance of salt and sugar, whatever, that kind of stuff. But the bottom line is, like what she's doing, that's perfect. But usually what I always say, there's going to be a snack anyway from 10 o'clock and 2, kind of get that 5 to 6, meals in a day. But they're mostly like 10 and 2s are more of like it's going to be more of a snack type deal. So yeah, so that's a little different. And then usually it's going to be maybe just an egg, boiled egg or whatever they want to do on that. But you can do a little piece of meat if you want to, just like she's doing it. That's a really good idea. I like that a lot. But I mean, and that it comes down to a lot of companies, they sell that stuff like that. I know First Form here, they've got their beef sticks, and I don't know if they're truly into keto, but they work good for keto. You know what I mean? For a snack out on the road. So.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, some companies some companies make products they don't even know they're keto. They're helping us guys. They are.
I know, like all these butter companies that I'm tagging on Instagram, and they're like, "Who's this weirdo that's eating butter like out of the package with salt on it?" I'm like, "It's me, and it's all my bodybuilding clients that actually think that this tastes good because it's not bad. You should try it."
It's real butter. What?
Yeah. On this wasn't. I wanted to talk about this later, but I guess since we're on the topic, I had a question for you about intermittent fasting, if that's okay.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Does eating one meal a day, in your opinion, really supercharge your metabolism like all the intermittent fasting people claim that it does? I think that it might have slowed down my metabolism because when I did the Lion diet, Danielle, Michael, and I, another one of my clients, we all did the Lion diet together. We did it for 45 days. I made it to 60 days, and then Danielle made it to 60 days too. So we were pretty much all one meal a day by the end of the Lion diet. I've noticed that most people that do the Lion diet kind of gravitate towards one meal a day by the end of it. And I just love eating one meal a day personally, just like never hungry. But my fat loss stopped. My macros right now are 190 protein and 240 fat, and they have not changed for 2 months. They've seriously been exactly that. The only thing that I've changed the last couple of weeks has been my meal timing. I've taken that one meal and I've spread it out throughout the day in the course of 2 meals, throughout over about 8 or 10 hours most days. And since then, I've lost 8 pounds. So
Wow.
I don't know if I just like hit some random, I don't know if I just like hit some random plateau, or if like it really sped up, or if that sped up my metabolism, if that's what I needed, or if that affected my exercise activity thermogenesis or something. I'm not sure if you have any thoughts on that.
As far as we were talking about earlier, though, as far as the fasting aspect, I kind of use that as kind of it's a tool. What's funny, a lot of people use the keto diet, a lot of prep coaches, as a tool. In other words, they say, well, if my client's slow, they're not coming down, then I'll use keto. I'm like, well, why don't you just use it the whole time if it works well, But
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah. So say for example, holidays, and you want to partake in the festivities and the fun food. Well, maybe an intermittent fast the next day or so. Might be a way to get back into ketosis. I mean, that's kind of the way I look at it. Versus and then go back in your typical, eggs and small amounts of fruit and that kind of stuff, and just keep those carbs below 15, 12. Contest time, be careful. Go over about 10 each meal, 30 a day, and then usually a guy like, would you say how much you going fat wise? How much fat are you taking in?
My fats are at my fats are at 240-ish. My protein, and I might be north or south like 20 grams every day.
Right.
My protein is what I keep consistent. That's what I've noticed, is that when I cut, I got to keep my protein like right at a very, very specific amount. And if I'm disciplined with that, then I have a little bit of grace in terms of how much fat I can get away with. I could eat 100 grams of extra fat and I wouldn't store it as fat. That's how confident I am, as long as I know that my protein is where it needs to be.
Right. So see, what you're doing is kind of what they do with people with cancer. It's mostly all fats, but to keep the proteins low.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was talking to you about the last time I competed. I dropped my proteins down. Usually the proteins are usually higher than your fat.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, I'll start someone at 160. I talked about that the last time. I used to come in at about 110-ish, the week of a show, fat wise, but the proteins were higher. It was more, like beef and it. But like it's interesting what you're doing, because I was telling you how I dropped my egg whites and things like that in my last preps, and I've kind of used it some people lately.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more your fats are coming up a lot
which
higher.
is funny, because like, yeah, which is, we were talking about on the first time we recorded, is how like it's just so counterintuitive. Like everybody that I know cuts out the egg yolks and leaves the whites in when those last couple of weeks of prep, and you and I do the opposite. If we're eating eggs, we leave the yolks in and take the whites out, because we want our insulin to be lower and we need those fats. Those fats are what fill us out and keep us full.
Absolutely. And here's the other aspect and we talked about this before, is that, hey, cholesterol, it's the natty's testosterone, man. It's your natty's, that's your steroids. It really is. And when you
Yeah,
explain
it
this to
totally
people,
is.
it's true. So when you tell natural athletes that aren't doing that, and they say, oh, I don't know about that keto stuff, and man, I felt horrible when I did it, or I tried. It's usually they tried it, and they normally don't do what you and I are doing, eating pretty much all animal fat. You know what I mean? It's more plant-based fats, or because it's the good essential fatty acid fats, supposedly good. Anyway, so what happens is the body doesn't utilize it, and next thing you know, they're in acidosis and they're dizzy and can't think, and you know what I mean. This is the problem. You've got people out there that think they know what they're doing with these kind of diets. They really don't. And I talked about. It's funny because I was listening to the last time you and I were on a podcast together, about how I had that client.
Oh, you were revisiting it too, like I was. Good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I absolutely did. Sure. I said I want to see where. I didn't want to go over it again, but then again, it's been 5 years, or almost 5 years So no one would ever
I
remember
know
what he said anyway.
it's been forever since it's been forever since you and I have talked, and I'm just like, this is not okay. This is not okay that this is a 4 or 5-year-old recording.
Right.
It's
Well,
like,
that's
I
all
live
right
for
though.
this. He lives for this. Why don't we talk about this more often?
Absolutely. But hey, I was looking at the guys doing your brick stuff, the brick bars
Mhm.
that you sell. I judged him.
Yeah.
I'm
Who?
like, this is so funny. Such a small world.
Because well, I'm saying which one? Because I'm training like 20 people that are eating keto bricks right now.
No, the guy that I guess he's your partner in that stuff. Is that right? Rimmer, I think
Oh,
his name
Robert
is.
Sykes? Oh no, yeah. So
Yeah, Sykes.
he invented it. Mhm.
And there another guy named Rimmer. Is that right? No. Anyway, so I
No,
know
it's no,
I oh
it's a family based business. Keto Brick is.
yeah, that's right. Because I think he was help prepping him, the guy I was judging up there. It was up in Nebraska, and I think he went on to. I think he competed at was it the Titan up in Minnesota, maybe, or Minnesota, one of the two. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny. I
Okay.
saw him on this one of your podcasts, and I'm like, wow, that's kind of no. I looked at your brick product, and you guys had a little podcast about it off of that, and I'm like, oh my god, I
Mhm.
just judged this guy like last year or something like that. So yeah, interesting. He was hard, ripped and heavy, full. I mean, seriously, the guy
Yeah.
he exemplifies. I think what we do works. You know, it just does. But anyway, well, I'll go
You're
back
talking
to.
about Robert Sykes' physique. You're talking about Robert Sykes' physique this last year and how he looked,
I
or his
think that's
client.
who it was. Yeah, it's your maybe it's his client, bald-headed guy,
Okay. Yeah.
40s plus. Yeah, kind of thick
Oh,
dude.
that
I
might have
think
been. You know what? I think that was probably Keto Greg. That's probably who you're
Greg.
talking
Yeah,
about.
Greg. There you go.
Yeah.
It's Greg. Keto Greg. Yeah, that's who it
Okay.
was.
Yeah. That's his. I think that's his sales manager.
Okay.
He's the
Yeah.
guy that I talk to. So yeah. Whenever we need to place a new PO for Keto Brick to restock or whatever from here, I talk to him. He's also a very, very good bodybuilder himself. He's also a
Yeah.
very, very good content producer. His reels are really funny. They're educational. And yeah, man, I mean, he's one of those guys that just like everybody thinks he's on drugs, and he's just a great natural bodybuilder that doesn't eat carbs. I know, right? Really hard to believe, but no, keto bodybuilding, I love it. It's no, you said that cholesterol is steroids for natural bodybuilders. I just think that keto bodybuilding in general makes the most sense in natural bodybuilding. I mean, like, I don't know. I suppose that you could do just as good of a job if you're on gear. All the athletes that I'm training right now anymore, they're all natural. I'm not training anybody that's on gear.
Yeah.
And I just think that it makes the most sense in natural bodybuilding because because of steroids is like your sidestep around the whole hormonal issues that come along with cutting.
Absolutely. I mean, it's what it comes down to. I mean, you know, when you've judged as many shows I've had, after parties talking to young guys, and they'll tell you how much weight they lost or whatever, you know, that kind of thing, and you kind of start talking about these things, and you ask them, well, how much body fat have you lost, and where'd you start at? And these guys will say, yeah, I lost like 30 pounds, and I've lost maybe 6% body fat. I'm like, oh, what? I mean, you laid a lot of muscle on the table, dude. You know, I mean, so this is what I'm talking about. As far as I think when the keto diet, it keeps your hormone level, you know, at a good level for one. So that what keeps
Yeah.
muscle mass on people doing gear? Steroids, right? I mean, it's come down to it. So if you're not optimizing your testosterone level with what I believe is the ketogenic style diet with, you know, your cholesterol content in it, well, guess what? You're gonna have issues, libido. And to me, it's like, why on earth would any natural bodybuilder decide to like suppress their testosterone level in a prep cycle? I mean, that's what they do. All you tell me, Colt, you constantly see these
Mhm.
guys out on social media talking about, oh my gosh, it's almost not worth competing as a natural bodybuilder because man, now they're starting to really watch the testosterone. They're getting tests and all. Man, my testosterone was down to 250, you know, and well, obviously your libido is in the crapper too, I'm sure, you know. Well, maybe I think about trying a different method and understand what you and I know. I mean, seriously. I mean, you know, like I said, on
what's the
our last
definition of insanity? Repeating the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different
Exactly.
result, right?
Exactly. And what's so crazy about that? I even, like we were talking about earlier, I even took mine and dropped my proteins down by just, you know, knocking down my egg whites. Well, I didn't do the same thing over again. I kind of experimented again and found a new bullet, you know. I mean, simple as that. I mean, I understand on the other side of the coin, these guys are messing around with carbohydrate, you know, bring it down, ratchet down. But what's killing me, they never talk about fats. It's always carbohydrates is your first macro. That's almost like the number one macro. Then it's protein, and fats are last. You know, we go the opposite direction. And it's like you beat your head against the wall, but let's face it. Who has the most influence on everybody in bodybuilding? Come on. It is the other side of the coin. And truly, I mean, go ahead.
Yes, people, what is happening? Hope everybody's good. So, if you're on TikTok, make sure you're following us on our accounts, Carnivore Coaches Corner. TikTok is flooded with fake coaches that give out horrible advice, shit advice concerning your health. If you don't believe me, get a load of this.
The theory behind fat loss with keto is exciting, but it isn't sustainable. To achieve your health goals, you need to do something that you can stay consistent with. Otherwise, you're always looking for a quick fix.
Are you really saying that a primal way of eating is a quick fix right before you're about to try to sell everybody on a quick fix?
You're always looking for a quick fix. Here's something that I use that keeps all my belly fat off and naturally suppresses my hunger. When I break my fast, I have this. I like to think of this as true food freedom. This contains all the soluble and insoluble plant fibers that our body requires.
What did you just say? Fiber is required? Why? What is it required for? Please enlighten me.
The system regulates my blood sugar, controlling my carbs and my appetite.
So you're taking a supplement to regulate your appetite, and you people are the one that say us keto people have the weird relationship with food. This is the most self-contradicting advice I have ever heard in my entire life. If fiber is really required, then what about all the people that don't have access to fiber, like Eskimos? What about these 22 people that I coach that haven't had fiber in years? Neither have I, by the way. Here's a bit of a science lesson for you. Sugar plus fiber plus bacteria plus yeast equals fermentation, aka alcohol in your gut. That causes glycation, and that is very, very damaging, very, very toxic to your entire body. Fiber does not help you regulate your appetite either. They've disproven that in rat studies. And it steals a lot of the nutrients that your body actually does require, which you get from meat, by the way, not from plants. And if you think that anything that I just said was bullshit, call me out on it. I will debate you and I will annihilate you on this topic. And stop using the hashtag keto sucks, man. What are we, in 3rd grade?
Make sure you give us a follow over there, okay? We also post meal prep videos, workout tips, and tips from top carnivore doctors and nutritionists from across the globe. Now back to the show.
I kind of think that the reason that carbs are such a key part why they're so popular within the sport of bodybuilding, and why keto is growing, carnivore is growing. It's not growing as fast as I think it should be. But I think one of the reasons that there's some pushback, just like within the bodybuilding community, is carbs are very, very highly addictive, and people will seriously look for any reason to justify just putting them in their diet so they can eat them. But when you look at the science, there is no reason why your body needs them. Absolutely nothing. And your body needs to have protein or else you'll die. Your body needs to have fat or else you'll die. But if you don't have carbs, you're going to thrive and you're going to have less inflammation. You're going to feel better. You're going to sleep better. You're going to have better satiety. You're going to have better hormone levels. You're going to have more stable blood sugar levels. But people just don't want to hear it. They just don't want to do it. And I think that's why I like working with bodybuilders so much, man, because like they get it and they They put 10 times much more thought into every single bite of food that they're eating, because, and I mean, bodybuilders are, in my experience of everybody that I'm coaching, are the ones that stick to ketogenic diets the best long term, because they see it working. And then they get the results, and they don't want to lose the results.
And I'll tell you what,
you don't want to.
yeah.
It's like that proverb. What's that proverb? Let me dig it out real quick. So I don't know. It's in the book of Proverbs, but it says, as a dog returns to its own vomit, so a fool repeats his own foolishness. And I just think that's what that's so it's like, why would you so it's like, if going keto carnivore has changed your life for the better, then I don't know. At that point, I kind of say that vitality is a spice of life, and variety can take a back seat to that.
Okay, and I'm going to show you something real fast. And here's one of the main reasons we're talking about this. Exactly what you're talking about. I mean, this is all. Of course, I wasn't in a prep cycle, but I'm 67 right now. All right, but can you see that right there?
Yeah.
See 11, 17, or 18 right there. What's that say?
Mm-hmm.
Testosterone level. That was mine last year.
I can't read it.
Okay, hang on.
What was the number? I can't see it. Can you read to me? What's the number say?
It's 1118. 1,118. Total testosterone.
You're at 1,000. That's your testosterone count, and you're 67 years old. Whoa.
Yep.
I don't know many natural bodybuilders my age that can say that.
There, I got something wrong with me. But it's been like that. Hey, when I was 60, I had it tested back then. I was 1,097. So
wow.
I think a lot of it is probably because, I'm probably one of the longest running bodybuilders on earth. I don't know that's been doing it. Well, I'm sure there are other guys, but I started doing this when I was about 35. So I just never changed. This is my base diet. It's my lifestyle. It's not a prep cycle all the time. But I will say my cholesterol runs high. The doctor gives me a hard time about that, of course,
I'm sure he does.
But I have no, my blood pressure's perfect pretty much. I have no issues, as far as anything. I mean, I'm not on any meds whatsoever. Do I have some aches and pains here and yeah? But I will say, you're talking about the inflammation part of it. When I'm not perfect on the diet, holidays, I just I feel it. My joints, I just feel kind of tight. I don't feel fluid. And as soon as I get back really, really tight on this diet, I have a lot more energy. I just feel younger, and my joints don't hurt as bad. I heal faster, all that, I mean, I had a shoulder surgery, I think it was a year and a half ago. I'm back up to like 190 in my bench press for sets. I mean, healed pretty quick. But I'm, again, see, I don't think of myself at my age. I just don't think that way. I mean, I'm still, I was out going football around with all my nephews and nieces and yesterday. I mean, we had Memorial Day little party at my brother-in-law's house. I mean, stuff like that. I mean, I'm not sitting on my butt in a chair watching them. And you were talking about, the little gal was talking about how her performance, in college and all that. I'll give you a nice little tidbit. So my son, we did an AU track and field. The kid, he was only probably, I'm gonna say 10, 12 maybe. And we went to a meet, and he missed three attempts, right, in the meet. He misses twice. Well, he ate some Frosted Flakes before he went out to do this. And I'm like, right. So I thought, I'm going to zone you, which is basically the same thing. So a few days before, we go lower carbs. So at the meet, I wouldn't let him have sugars. And man, after he started doing that, he was consistently getting better, if at least as good as last time, and better each time out. And he continued to do this in high school. And he was a hell of a track athlete. And he seriously, long jump, every meet, he was always at least on the same number or at least better every time, because he knew he learned how to do it on his own. Now, was he doing it all the time? No, he didn't. But what's interesting was I'm like 38. No, I was 38, 39. I thought I'm going to start running again in these meets because I was coaching these kids. I was 30, 36 when I started doing it. About 2 years in, I thought, hey, I'm going to start running the Masters AAU stuff. And we also had the Show Me State Games in Missouri, whatever. And it's like a state games, whatever. And I ended up at 30, 39 class. When I jumped over the 40, I thought, I'm going to parlay my contest diet, my keto diet, into my track. I didn't do that every time. And so I went in the 40-44 class. I ended up running like an 11-2, probably 100 meters, where I was struggling to run 11-8 at 39 years old, and I was 44. All I did was change to the keto diet in track and field.
That's wild.
I swear,
I'll
walk outside, God strike me dead.
I was the assistant track coach of our of our high school and middle school teams, track teams here locally.
Very cool.
And I found, yeah, and I mean, you know me, of course, I'm on contest prep right now, and so I've been I've been in ketosis like basically through the entire track meet or through the entire track season. And like my lunch to our track meets and stuff was always just like a keto brick. Everybody else is, we're stopping and getting sandwiches. Like, cool, you got your keto brick? I'm like, yep.
Get my brick.
But yeah. But I've noticed that. But I've noticed that my running performance and my recovery and like the swelling around my legs and stuff that I used to experience back when I was doing lots of running, I just noticed that I'm able to recover a lot better now. I'm also making sure that I get lots of collagen in, so I'm having bone broth like at least every day or every other day.
Yeah,
Days that I don't have
I think
bone broth,
collagen's
then
legit.
I'll just eat beef gelatin like with salt on it. Like, I don't care. I don't think it tastes that bad. You got to get it in somehow.
Yeah, keto people do a lot of disgusting food that people think are, that's okay. It's like collagen.
Hey, it's a good appetite. Yeah. I know. I got clients that like supplement collagen from Prime Protein. They're like, look at this collagen supplement. I'm like, yeah, it's great. Like it's a great supplement. It's a really good product. I'm just like, why the heck would I buy it if it's a byproduct of everything I'm cooking anyway, though?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we talked. So you mentioned ketoacidosis a couple times, and we talked about ketoacidosis on our last podcast. And as of recently, I've had several clients that are getting that are having like people in the gym telling them that that they're going to get into ketoacidosis, and it's like this is a really dangerous thing that they need to be super concerned about. So since then, I revisited our conversation, and it didn't really seem like it was like that severe or that common of an issue. Sounds like if you do your macros right, then you really don't have to worry about it. From the research that I've done on ketoacidosis, essentially it seems like it's a state of confusion, fatigue, weakness, and nausea that's caused by overproduction of acids resulting from protein catabolism. So it would seem logical that this is a warning sign of ketoacidosis would be loss of muscle mass and strength. And you would probably see that coming like a mile away before you would start seeing the other symptoms of something like ketoacidosis or diabetic ketoacidosis, which seems to be like the extreme version of the extreme manifestation of ketoacidosis.
Well,
does that all sound like it's kind of accurate? Like, do I have a good understanding of what this thing is?
It's perfect, actually, perfect.
Okay.
But the thing is, look, how much fat you've taken in? 200 plus, right? You'll never be in acidosis, but you'll be in ketosis. because there's no way you can dip into it
Yeah.
because you're not going to run out of fuel. Okay, and Becky hates this, but okay, look, you've got carbohydrate burning, glucolysis, whatever. You have ketosis, and you got ketoacidosis, and there's water. You got to have water, right, and whatever. So there's your major nutrients, right, for energy production.
Right.
So if you cut out one of these two, you can only cut out one of them. You cut out both of them, carbs, fats. Man, it's simple, stupid.
That's what your body. That's what your body does to you. Yeah.
This is protein burning. If you don't have okay, so the idea is this: you better decide which way you want to go. Cut your carbs down. You don't have. Well, you can go carnivore too if you want. That's like completely out, right? Because if you get plenty of fat in there, you can be carnivore without going into acidosis because you're getting a lot of fat, right? Well, along with that,
right,
you get plenty of cholesterol, and now you got plenty of testosterone running through your veins. All right. So you tell me what's the best way for a natural athlete. Period. There's no way around it. My thing is, okay, I like having about 10 grams of carbs in a prep, keep it below 15, but it's got to be nutrient dense. It can't be, half a piece of bread or something, it's got to be a green vegetable or something like that. It's going to give you, minerals and vitamins and that kind of thing. You use that as a safety mechanism for like vitamins and minerals. Okay. So the idea is, you're running off the fat, you're not going to dip over here. And as long as you got enough and you can do cardio. I mean, I was talking about my track stuff. I was running and it was hot. In Missouri, you're talking, usually all these meets are in July, August, whatever. And it's always like 90s and high humidity. I'm training for an hour with keto. I mean, I would go out and run 200s and hundreds and things like that. And with my little team and stuff as well, hills. And I felt great. I never had a problem. This is what's interesting. Totally the opposite of what you're told. You've got to have carbs if you're going to train, with HIIT and, prolonged HIIT, but whatever, that kind of thing. But seriously, as long as you got enough fuel, as long as you got enough of that fat fuel, you're not going to dip into your acidosis. And as long as you're drinking plenty of water, you're fine. I mean, it's really not that complicated. And like if your clients or somebody's telling you that they're having problems with feeling dizzy and all that, well, it's very simple. They're in acidosis. Either get enough carbs or they don't get enough fats. As simple as that. I mean, there's no way around it. You cannot live on high protein only. It just doesn't work. Because your body's okay. You've mitigated both these energy sources. Now you're into protein burning, which you'll destroy your organs. I mean, hey, I can't tell you how many times we've had competitors call us. Well, I've got to drop out. I've been feeling really, really tired and bad, and saw my doctor. Well, my kidneys I got problems and all this stuff. Well, why? Because you're in acidosis. So they're on too low of calories and they're doing all this cardio, and it's usually women. I'll be honest with you. And whoever the coach is, hey, oh, here's your 900 calories a day. Now go do an hour of cardio and train. You can't tell me they're not going into acidosis. You can't. There's no way around it. You're eating up all your energy source. So for one, the macro set's not good enough, not enough calories for one. But also, is it because they don't have enough fat in their diet, and now all of a sudden all that carbohydrates blown out the window from all the cardio? Probably. We've had a lot of people. I've had people drop out, and it's really weird too. Sometimes you'll have it from the same area of a city. Like, it's some coach somewhere, the same guy, but anyway, or whoever. But yeah, I mean, these are things that you run into, and the experience is, after doing this, 30 years, I got a million war stories, but it's just the idea that, I always tell people, you just got to think in terms of what makes sense. I mean, it's just science. It's like, it's easy. You go, like last time, Wikipedia, cholesterol, it says it's a precursor to all your sexual hormones. It's truth. You can go on the, you can go on the INBH, whatever, the governmental, healthcare thing, on there, and it'll say the same thing, so there's a lot to all this stuff.
Question for you on ketoacidosis and long extended fast. Okay. So a long extended fast for me is anything longer than 24 hours, because I don't do this crap. I like to eat my food, man. When my clients say, hey, I want to do a fast, want to do it with me? I'm like, I'll be on call for you. You can call me anytime you want, and I'll be probably eating a ribeye or something when you call me, but I am not fasting. It's just not my thing, dude.
Right,
especially, I mean, like, if you do the carnivore diet, right, you already get like half of the benefits that you're looking to get from fasting anyway, because you're just getting rid of like the most of the crap that you're eating.
Well, Cole, Cole, okay, think about this for a second. What does a fast do? It puts you into ketosis state. If you go too long, you're gonna go all the way to acidosis. It just does. I mean, if you cut out eating, you put yourself into ketosis, but you got to stop at a certain point. I go maybe 14 to 16 hour max if I do that. And it's normally because over a weekend I've had a bunch of fun food and a beer or so, and I'm like, okay, I'll do an intermittent fast. So on Monday or whatever, and by probably 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'll go ahead and start eating again. But then I go to keto diet, or you can do carnivore, one or two. It doesn't matter. Carnivore to keto is pretty close. It really is. So what happens now? You're into ketosis quicker, and if you go into a carnivore or a keto style at that point, if you're not there, you're going to get there a lot quicker. You know what I mean? So now you're speeding up the process to try to get back in your fat burning, whatever. And another thing too, they talk about how, if in extreme cases, I think supposedly science is saying that, if you're sick and you got a lot of problems, you can reset your immune system and all that. There's probably some validity to that, but you're not going to be out running around and, because you're sick. You know what I mean? I mean, you're not going to be lifting weights and all that, because, man, you're going to feel like, 24 hours. Oh man. I've talked to a lot of people like, but they say, well, I drink a lot of water. Or they'll be doing some kind of a bone broth, kind of a broth or something like that. It's all more liquid type deal, but still, if you're a bodybuilder, like I say, it's not really something that you want to continue to do ever. In my book, hey, what we're doing, you're in ketosis anyway. All they're doing is putting themselves into ketosis. But what they do immediately, most people do that, they'll eat a bunch of junk and crap, and so then the next day they do it again. Well, now, they get some fat burning time, but you got to remember, if you take carbs in, your body secretes insulin. It takes 5 hours for your body to get into ketosis, if it does. Now you got 5 hours, right? And maybe you might get maybe 8 hours, 10 hours maybe of an actual fast that you're starting to go into ketosis. So it takes a little time to get there. But then, like I say, what they blow it all up again because they eat a bunch of carbs and sugars and garbage. So they're using it, basically just so they can eat the garbage. I mean, it's really unhealthy if you think about it.
I found that and that's why I never recommend it. And so when I have a client that comes to me and says, hey, I feel like doing a fast, or I would like to do a fast, my first question is always, okay, why would you like to do a fast? And if it's because like they've been trying everything and they just like want to lose weight, I'm just like, whoa, give it more patience. Okay, let's give it another week. But like if they feel good about it, and if they're like not complaining, about being hungry or anything, then I just let him go. But yeah, I just had this client named, she's not a bodybuilder. She's her name's Sam. She's done she just finished up a 3-day fast, and she tests her ketones every single day like I do, and she's according to her device not in ketosis by the end of it. And I've heard that from a couple other people too. I don't seem to have that issue whenever I test whether I'm in ketosis or not. Like the longer I go without food, I certainly see those numbers go up. Um, my my theory is that because different ketone devices test for different types of ketones, because I believe there's 3, my device tests for something different than their device tests for. And so, first of all, you got to throw that in there. But second of all, like, your body could be burning one type of ketone and not another type of ketone. So you could be in
Right.
ketosis, but you're producing BHB and not ACE, which is the one that my device tests for. I'm not sure if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah. No. Yeah, for me, it's more about, I just trust the process. I mean, it's kind of like what's kind of worked.
Yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned this, but my first actual knowledge of it was the guy named J. Robb. I don't know if you're familiar with him or not, but he was like one of the early pioneers. He wrote a book called The Fat Burning Diet, and I think he had a supplement line, protein line. Not a real big, as far as online type do, but that was my first knowledge of it. He wrote articles for like Natural Bodybuilding back in the day in the magazine we had years ago. And I'll never forget reading an article. The heading was side effects of ultra low fat diets. And I started, because I had libido issues that scared the crap out of me. I quit competing for 2 years because of,
Yeah.
because what I did, I dropped my fats way too low, but I was eating plenty of as far as protein and my carbs, but I thought, I can't get really hard, so I'm going to drop my fats down to like 50. I did that for about 3 weeks, and also I'm like going, whoa, something's happened here. I mean, I don't like this at all. In other words, I couldn't be a man all of a sudden, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, so it scared me. And there was no Google back then. Yeah, I remember, that's 32 years ago. And so I'm calling buddy of mine, he's a urologist, and says, I tell him, what do you think I did? He said, I don't know. When's your show? 2 weeks. He said, well, John, you're not going to die. I said, I don't know. Sexual habits are kind of important. So the bottom line
Yeah, no,
is,
it's important. It's an important part of life. It's an important part of your sleep. It's an important part of your circadian rhythms.
well,
Like, it's something that I think that you should be doing if you're married, on contest prep, like, for like as much as you can. So far so good for me. I got the job done yesterday. Won't go into detail, but
right.
I'm,
But you see,
hoping
that's
that
significant.
I'm hoping that I'm hoping that I can keep up my performance there all the way through the competition. But I don't know, man. Like, usually you like keto, no keto, it doesn't matter, man. When you get shredded, you're not as good at some things in life, but it's definitely better on the
Well,
keto diet.
absolutely it is. I mean, that was what was so crazy for me, because I was doing low fat forever, because that was the norm. When I was young. I mean, it was,
Mhm.
when I was coming out of college, it's
Yeah, oh yeah,
green leafy vegetables and chicken, and that was pretty much what everybody
cans of
did. And
tuna, yeah.
yeah, and tuna, yeah, that was a big deal. But
And
I,
you got to use mustard with it. You can't use mayonnaise. That's for damn sure.
that's right, that's right. So all of a sudden I'm switching over to this thing. I'm like, oh my God, this is like taking steroids. I mean, this is crazy. My strength level is great. Contest time, I'm hitting good numbers at contests. And my strength level is not going backwards at all. I mean, this is not supposed to happen. And you try to tell people that, and they think, oh, you're crazy. You're just trying to sell it. I'm like, whatever. Just keep, just keep doing what you're doing. And if you feel like someday you want to try something different, try it. But the bottom line was, I'm reading this guy's article. And he spelled out everything that happened to me. I go, oh God, I'm buying this guy's book now. I got it. And I'm like going, God, this makes total. Until you go through that, it just doesn't make it. If everybody would read this guy's book or a book like that, Is Mario Du Pasquale, you know, is I think it's anabolic solution. He was one of the early pioneers of that too. More, you know, of,
What are those books? What are those books that you said again, if you don't mind, so I can write them down, please?
Yeah, one's by J. Robb, R-O-B-B, and it's called The Fat Burning Diet. And it implies burning fat. It's, you know, people think it's, well, I'm burning fat on my body. No, it's the idea is you're burning fat, you're using fats. And then Mario Du Pasquale.
I'll go get both of those. Thank you.
Yeah, those are two really good books. Pasquale was like all week keto, and then the weekends kind of eat what you want kind of guy. But he was early pioneer. It's pretty much all this is a spin off of Atkins. You know, we've modified it for Atkins style diets, but we've learned a lot about it, you know, over a long time.
What's the name of his book? Actually, I want to start with that one.
Which one?
Mario, the second guy.
Mark. Let's see.
Whatever his name is.
I think it's Anabolic Advantage or Solution, one of the two.
Anabolic Advantage or Solution. I'll find it, and then if you're listening, I'll put a link in the show notes.
Yeah, it'd be fine. Yeah, but those are two really good books, I think, on it. That Jay's book is really easy read. It just spells it out, pretty simple.
Hey, John, I want to ask you. I want to ask you about what you just said, and here's why I wanted to start with that second book is because I was listening to I was listening to our last conversation in preparation for this conversation, and you mentioned that there's times during your diet when you're on contest prep that you believe that it's beneficial to put carbs in so that you can replenish glycogen stores.
Glycogen, and also yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, I was just gonna say because personally, I don't do that. I don't have anybody doing that. I do. My contest prep protocol is very much closer to Robert Sykes. So we seriously don't touch 1 gram of exogenous carbohydrates all the way through the show. So I guess I'm just kind of wondering why your approach is different than that, and why you like to put carbohydrates in, and what are those carbohydrate sources?
Well, usually the carbohydrate sources, it's going to be a complex. You know, rice, something clean, not fun stuff per se. You know, not eating a piece of cake or something. Yeah, sweet potatoes are kind of estrogenic.
Sweet potatoes are fun. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, really? They're estrogenic? I didn't know that.
Yeah, you may just look that up a little bit. But then again, the amount that you and I would eat would probably not amount to much as far as that goes. You know, I mean, there's certain.
Oh, I don't know, man. You haven't seen me eat sweet potatoes, dude.
Yeah, especially what we do. You know, it's like a pecan tastes like a goddamn candy bar. But
yeah.
Okay.
My acid reflux was so bad on my days after my sweet potato refeeds back when I was paleo. So like right before you and I recorded, that's kind of when I was finishing competing on the paleo diet, and so basically like I went for an entire year of eating nothing but sweet potatoes as my only carb source, and other than that it was all meat and like pretty much other stuff. But no, dude, I seriously just never got sick of them, man. Like if that doesn't show that carbs are addicting, I don't know what does. But I mean, like it was like every time I got to eat sweet potatoes, I was just like super excited about it, and like I would seriously pack away 12 pounds typically before a show, and I would gain 5 pounds overnight. Yeah, I would just fill out massive. Like my body's ability to store glycogen is stupid. that's one genetic advantage I do have.
Well, I will say too that some of that is give them something to look forward to in the middle of the week, and it's not going to cause an issue. We get throw some glycogen in there, help them to the because you got to remember, I'm not doing 200.
Oh wow, yeah. Okay.
It's more like 130, for sure. 140. What's that?
Cool. From an adherence standpoint, that's for sure. That's what everybody says about the keto diet. Oh, it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. That's a conversation for another day. It's totally freaking sustainable, but to have a high carb meal, if it doesn't hurt you, I don't know. I could think of 3 or 4 people that I'm training right now that would probably not say no to that.
Right. I mean, I early on, I remember I was working with this lady. She was a bowler. She was just, a little, I mean, 180 pounds, probably. And I see her running on this track at this gym, and from probably January to May, she lost like 50. So I told her every weekend, when you go bowling with your girlfriends, she go to this casino like buffet thing, and she goes, I got to do it every week. I just got to pound the chocolate and all that to get me through.
Yeah.
That's fine. Let's do it. But that's how much she lost, 50 pounds. I mean, it got to the point where I didn't even recognize her. I'm like, where's she at? And she'd be tapping me. I'm so, oh my God, you scared me.
Yeah.
Anyway, but there's another thing to that. And you may take a look at this, but there are some thoughts about how leptin, your metabolic hormone, which kind of regulates your hormones, it tends to work with insulin. So you're kind of faking it out a little bit. So you're making your leptin kind of happy, if you want to call it that. Keep your metabolism maybe moving along. Because the leptin gets weaker when you lose your body fat. It works off body fat. Anyway, so but it does like
I didn't know that's how it works, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so all you're doing is kind of going, hey, guess what? We're not messing with you too bad, body. So we're going to give you a little of this. So keep my like, but I think there's something to that, because I've kind of played around and I've done some research reading about it, and in some places they say it does, sometimes it doesn't, but I think there is some validity to it. And it tends to work pretty well. Everybody I kind of work with, they to get nice and lean, and they'll do that about every third day, because your glycogen stores will wane at about a third day point completely. So, but that's why. Right. But you're feeding it fat a lot, and you're not going to feel it as bad. And I think once you've done these diets for a while, I think your body kind of gets used to it for one. I think it bounces back a lot faster because it recognizes it. It's just funny how our bodies work. I think it's just like some bodies, like you say, your body maybe is really good with carbs. You can do well with them. Or hold, whatever, use them for your energy source really well, but not get fat real fast. I mean, I'm a guy that, Jesus, if I eat like bad, like 2 meals on a day on a weekend, I'll look at the scale, I'll gain 2 pounds in a day almost sometimes. But you got to remember, I'm 67 though too.
For sure.
Yeah. You see, when you get my age, you have different goals. You walk into your doctor, and when he's telling your wife you have peanut butter run to your veins. So now my next wellness check for this year, I'm doing a prep diet right now, pretty much, and I know it's going to bring him back down, my LDL. I'm gonna go, and so I can just flip them off and go, don't be telling my wife I got peanut butter in my veins again. That's my goal right now.
So are you on prep right now?
I'm just doing a semi-prep diet. Yeah. So I thought I'm gonna do it, and then take my next my next blood test and whatnot. It's a job deal. I got to do my wellness checks every year now. So yeah. Say I'm pretty lean.
Oh man, your biceps are twice the size of mine, dude. Get out of here. Oh man. Are you?
It's really weird. I feel really good though.
Do you have another competition on the calendar right now?
Oh, we're promoting September. Yeah, late September, the Gateway Naturals in St. Louis, and I think I'm pretty much retired, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Still love it though. I don't know. I keep looking at these guys in master's class, and I'm going, I think I can hang.
Tell us about the show that you're promoting, please.
Yeah, well, we are annually, or Gateway Naturals is going to come up in September. I believe it's 23rd, 25th this year. They all blend together, and then of course in October, late October last week, we always do our Worlds Nationals, NANBF Nationals and IPE Worlds. Becky and I promote that in KC as well.
Danielle's gonna Okay, yeah, Danielle's gonna be there, and I'm like 99% sure that I'll be there too, and so I hope to see you.
That'd be
I think
awesome.
that'll be
That'd
the
be
first
love to
time
see
you
you.
and I that'd be cool. That'd be the first time that you and I ever shook hands too.
I know. Somehow or another, we got
We'll
to
probably,
doing this, and which is good,
yeah. Okay. Well, that's interesting that you bring that up. This is obviously WNBF then, right?
No, NANBF, IPE.
Oh, NANBF. My bad.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm doing I think spoiler alert. I haven't officially announced this yet because really it's just fine. It's just financially, man. I'm like, it'll cost a lot of money for me to do this, and so I'm just like trying to justify. God, I don't know. I could probably take my family on a vacation for that, but I think I have a
Right.
like but I think I have the biggest opportunity that I've ever had to get my pro card though, and Taylor's pretty excited about the idea too. I got 2 clients that are competing at the Granite State Open that Laura Turtle hosts. I went to that show last year because I coached an athlete through it. I didn't compete. I coached Nate through it. He got second place, just like barely missed his pro card. But really cool, really cool show. We had a great experience, and so I would like to compete there personally. And that'll be in September, October, like kind of right after the Open
Right,
Natural,
right,
when I'm guest
right.
posing.
Yeah,
But you guys offer a classic. You guys offer a classic physique division though, and that is, man, if there's one thing that the IPE and NMBF like totally has over WNBF, it's that, man. Like, why the hell is there no freaking classic
I
physique
know,
category? Because that's kind of an
but
essential. That's kind of an essential part of bodybuilding, in my opinion.
right. I mean, let's face it. The NPC, those guys, they kind of set the stage on what classes that they're bringing in, and I'll be. What's funny is before they even started that, we were talking about doing something similar, and it was like, oh, something like, oh god, there we go. And then also women's physique, is like a softer pose, instead of women's bodybuilding. We were that close to
Right.
doing that before they even brought it in. All of a sudden, they did it. I'm like, gosh darn it! We should have
Yeah.
done it.
Yeah.
Innovate a little bit. But I mean, yeah. I mean, my thing was, and we got some pushback actually when we did it. But my thing was, if we don't do that, um, let's just face it, a lot of competitors, they don't know any better. They're indifferent to what classes or what. No matter if it's natty or not, they think, well, the bodybuilder guys are so big. Well, really, in natural bodybuilding, they're not. I mean, you're talking about, if you look at our men's physique class and the way we do it, it's symmetry is number one. It's not how lean you are. I mean, you should be lean to give you your shape, your muscle belly shape, but you don't have to be ripped to shreds in that class. It's more about, we're looking at that symmetrical silhouette first. That's our number one. That's how we do that. That's how we differentiate it. And we do different poses. You've probably seen it. We do like the Manus pose. We do. It's an asymmetrical.
Yeah, that's actually a mandatory pose, and
Yes,
for
it
you
is.
guys,
Absolutely is. Right, right,
which is not an NPC. Yeah, that's cool.
right, right. And we
Because
thought,
otherwise
okay,
it's like, what's the difference? The classic and bodybuilding are super similar if you don't have those mandatory differences like you're describing. I like that a
right,
lot.
right. We wanted to make them a differentiation, and we actually have. I'll tell you what's interesting is uh, um, you'll see you'll see the same 2 guys in an amateur show compete in bodybuilding, and then they come back and they'll do, and we allow crossovers like that. We do, open the novice and whatever too, but same show. But the whole idea is, when you'll see 2 people go, 2 guys, one guy will end up winning bodybuilding, right? And the other guy might get second or third in bodybuilding because he's not as lean, but he's got great symmetry. But the other guy has got good enough symmetry, but he's a lot harder. Well, he wins bodybuilding. Then that same guy who won bodybuilding goes over to classic thinking he can win that one too. Well, the guy who got second or third ends up beating him.
Yeah.
which is great because that tells me my judges know what they're doing. I mean,
That-
they're adhering to the criteria.
That sounds like good judging in my book.
It is, and it happened. Well,
Excellent.
it happened last week, last weekend. Yeah, up in Minnesota. Same thing. Actually, yeah, it did.
Oh my gosh. Robert Sykes, one of the shows that he did last year, this is like right before he got his WNBF Pro card. He's had his IPE Pro card for a while, but he just got his WNBF Pro card too because being a pro one time is like not good enough apparently. No, I'm just kidding. I love this guy. Yeah, he took second place at his show where it was like, what? And he got second place. And it wasn't even that big of a show, but he did classic, and he was just way too lean, way too shredded for it. The judges told him afterwards, they're like, if you would have just not flexed, you would have gotten first place. But they're like, the other guy has the physique that we're looking for. This is classic physique. He had to do classic because everybody bailed out of bodybuilding. So that was the only reason that he did classic. Classics isn't really like his ideal category, and so he still crushed it. But yeah, I mean, like if he would have softened up a little bit, he would have been fine.
Right. Well, I mean, there's a lot of decisions going into adding divisions because it's kind of like everybody thinks, well, they're just trying to make more money. No, it has nothing to do. Because I'm going to tell you what. Here's what's interesting. When you add a class or a division like that, now you got to buy more trophies. If you bring in a pro class out of that, now you got more purse money, and also it always makes your show go longer. And now the promoter has to pay an extra amount of money per hour for the theater. So it's not
for sure.
People think you know what I mean. It's like they think, oh, you're going to make all this money on the competitor. No, you don't as much as everybody thinks it does, especially on the pro side.
No,
but yeah, I mean, so there's a lot of thought that's going
probably in most cases. I know all about it because I'm co-hosting this show again with Mr. Hyro Chang. This is my medal for guest posing at it last year. Yeah, I'm actually guest posing and guest posing and co-hosting the same show. So I kind of like pull a Clark Kent. I'm like doing the announcements and then I go guest pose and then I put my suit back on. I haven't figured out how to do the tan yet though. So I'm definitely posing without a tan. So I just like spend as much time. I'm just like trying to get baked in the sun like every single day up until
I'm going to tell you
because
what,
I can't put the tan on and then do the suit.
It's like
I just say screw the suit.
You always say you've done everything in the sport, right? Well, I have one thing done that I think a lot of people have never done. Of course, I competed in like a master's class, pro, with a tan. Then I had to go, and I went back to the judges table and judged the amateurs. And so I'm like, had this tan on. I had to put my nice clothes on, try to get as much as if I could off. Man, you feel horrible. And I had to sit there for hours and that stuff. I do not recommend it. Just going to tell you.
What's happening, everyone? If you've never spoken to Coach Colt before, you need to 100% change that today. Listen to what these amazing people have to say since they started coaching with him.
Back in my mid-20s, I had an injury and I'd gained a lot of weight and I was really struggling to get it off. I found keto, but I realized recently that if I wanted to really get into the sport of bodybuilding and build my best self, I was going to need to find a coach. And I reached out to several coaches before I met Coach Colt. And so I started really looking specifically for a keto or carnivore pro coach. And the first few that I reached out to, I never heard back from. They were, some big names in the industry, I guess you could say, for carnivore bodybuilding coaching. And I just wasn't impressed with their lack of communication and their interest in coaching a person who has some challenges. So when I found Coach Colt via a Google search, found his Instagram, I was immediately attracted to what he was offering, how he was talking. All of his social media was right on point with the philosophy that I was seeking out. And when I reached out to him, it was a very quick response. It was personal interest. I felt like he not only was interested in me as a client, but interested in me as a person. And the fact that he is a passionate Christian man made me feel really safe, made me feel really like this was the right person for me to coach me. I'm only a week in, and I can't tell you how excited I am to continue this journey with Coach Colt.
Hi, my name is Danielle Fischer. I'm a 51-year-old pro bodybuilder. My day job is head cross-country and track and field coach at a Nashua, New Hampshire high school. I reached out to Colt last fall when I was looking for a new coach who was more aligned with my goals and values. Colt is an outstanding coach who is knowledgeable, reachable, and attentive to every concern I've had. He opened up my eyes to a much more efficient and healthier way to manage my contest prep, with a training split and unique focus on the mind-muscle connection. And additionally, and most importantly, he introduced me to a nutrition plan with a no-carb approach to building muscle and recompositioning my body, which helped me kick my sugar habit. I'm extremely blessed to have found such a wonderful coach like Colt, who truly cares for his athletes by motivating, inspiring, and praying with his team. Thank you, Colt.
To contact Colt, go to your Instagram at Colt Milton, or you can go to his website at supersetsyourlife.com, where they sell amazing skull belt equipment, keto bricks, bodybuilding and performance supplements, natural sea salts, merchandise, and lots more. Colt and I love giving out free content. If you go to our podcast at Carnivore Coach's Corner, you will learn an awful lot on this podcast, and it's our free gift to you. Now back to the show.
For
That's
hours
so
in
funny.
that with clothes on and just that because normally people kind of go back and after they've competed and clean off a little bit, but man, that was, I'm like thinking I'm gonna ruin my good pants. I'm like, well, I'll wear my secondary nice clothes, so
For
that
sure.
was pretty crazy.
What does the drug testing look like at your competition to make sure that everything's fair? We've talked about competing as enhanced athletes, and as, not that you and I ever have. We've talked about
Right.
just the concept of competing enhanced versus competing naturally, and both of us are of the same
Right.
opinion that it's like, hey, this
Right.
is your life. You can make your own decisions, but I just choose not to inject myself, and all of my clients choose not to inject themselves either. And we, like if we depending on why you're competing, some people compete to win, some people compete because it's their art and it's what they do, it's their life. Like Jill, that's why she competes, right? She didn't care if she won or not. She actually did great. It's a really big show, and so like to even place was like pretty cool that she did that. But she's in the best shape of her life, right? Like that's why some people do it. But of bodybuilders that are on contest prep, that are really competitively minded and that kind of have that gene in them, like I do. I just kind of like knowing that it's a fair playing level, as fair as it possibly could be, as fair as bodybuilding could be, I should say. It's already completely unfair to begin with because genetics plays such a gigantic role in this sport. But
It's like
what does the drug testing look like?
with us. Well, you gotta be 7 years drug free before you go to the show. We polygraph
Okay,
everybody.
I think that's the same as WNBF.
WBF's 10, I think now. They went, and that's fine. That's one thing I do. WNBF, I do trust their drug testing. I used to do. I know those guys. I know they have good integrity. Of all the federations besides ours,
Yeah, they're legit.
no, they really are, and seriously. So anyway,
And
I had no trouble saying that.
they're getting there. NPC is getting there. Let's just leave it at that. Okay.
Well, right. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of an old different podcast. So anyway,
Okay.
yeah, but what we did, we went 7 years drug free, and if you get caught on that, it's only 5 years out. Okay, but we upped it in regards to if you go urine, it's life. I'm done with if someone goes in the show and they taint it and they try to beat our test all the way through, they don't deserve to compete with us anymore. Period. I mean, because think about this.
No way.
People are spending thousands of dollars on prep.
I'm surprised they get a second chance even after 5 years. Like what do you say when you come back after 5 years? Like, all
Right.
right, guys, like I know I lied last time, but this time I'm telling the truth. I promise.
Right. Well, but you got think about
Like,
this for a second.
I was bullshitting you the first show, but now I'm totally natural. I swear to God. Like, you better have a good.
Right. So the idea is like this. Okay, someone who, and you'll get these people out there that they've done something and they thought, well, I did them, I think 4 years ago, but I'll try to get through the test, and they don't get through it. All right. But they still want to they want to compete natural, and that's what we want these guys to do. So all we're doing is giving them a little bit of more breathing room that maybe they'll come back. I mean, my deal is I want people to come back. I want them to compete. I want them, give them that oasis to compete away from the drug side of the sport. So that's kind of what we decided. We changed that like 2 years ago. And like I said, we went live essentially because of the fact that, I mean, think about this. People spend a lot of money nowadays with prep coaches. All their friends and family come to the show. The trainer expects us to do what's right. Well, we're doing what's right. Seriously, if you taint a show, you take away somebody's day in the sun away from them. Not only their trainer, all the time they put in the gym, it's totally wrong. So no more. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
And this what drives me crazy about what you're just talking about, other federations, what they're doing. It's just not right. I mean, if you're really committed to doing what we're doing and make sure it's a fair playing field, then you're going to be serious. Like us at WNBF, and whatever, that kind of thing. This is what we're about. This is who we are, and I really take that very seriously.
Amen.
So there's my whole directorship, Ryan Irwin, we're all on the same page. And it's sad to see some federations that they're all out there to make a buck. And we're not. That's not what we're about. We're about a fair playing field. So anyway, there you go, man. That's who we are.
Yeah, I love it. That's what I love about NANBF and about WNBF. I mean, both of them just incredible organizations, incredible people, and just very, 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 very high integrity. The focus is on the athletes. The focus is on health, and the focus is on being the best version of yourself. But it's fair. It's not. I like NPC. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I really like NPC. It's fun competing in both, but it's definitely a different crowd. And I just get that not everybody, but just generally speaking, it seems to be that most competitors for their it's more about the exposure, and it's I think
Well, exactly.
and I think much less about health. Not everybody, not everybody at all, but generally speaking.
Well, here's interesting.
what I
There was a competitor that a friend of mine that he's out of KC, and he decided to do a little clenbuterol several years ago, and so now he's back, competing. And I told him, I said, honestly, it was probably a good experience for you to go over there and compete and realize, like what I did was that, the fairness part of it, because I competed for 6 years NPC. And I'm backstage with all these other competitors going, this is just not fair. I'm never going to do this again. And when I got the call to maybe promote these shows in Kansas City, I just started thinking, I'm going to do it for those guys. And there's a lot of people backstage were in that realm. And usually, the natural competitors always kind of be with each other anyway. They kind of end up gravitating with each other and talking, But my thing was, it had nothing to do with, they can do what they want. All I want to be able to do is compete on a fair playing field. That's it. And that's what happened. I mean, seriously, we know they're a behemoth. We know they got all the money on God's green earth, and they can destroy everybody if they want. But the bottom line is this, I got a commitment to bringing you and other competitors that fair playing field. And if I don't do my job, then shoot, I shouldn't exist, period. We shouldn't exist. So that's why we have to do what we do. I mean, with us, you will get your results back, all that, once you do a test with us. And we're using labs like Smyrna Labs now, IRMS, on certain situations. You know, if they go hot, whatever, especially pros on that, we give them the option. Because, you know, a lot of these people say Smyrtle, but Smyrtle has like a regular gas chromatography, but they also have the isotope, whatever, and that one's like $450. It's not cheap. So you got to be very selective in what you're doing with that one. So, you know, if you hear some of all of them were using Smyrtle, are they using IRMS on everybody? I highly doubt it. I mean, our rules, you've got to be at least 20% of the competitor base, or it's got to be the top 2 in all open classes for sure. That's how we do it. That's the other part of it. So,
yeah. A couple more questions for you, if you don't mind. Got a question from somebody asking. I'm thinking about taking Tren and I'm thinking about taking Anavar. Between the two, which should I take? I'm just
neither.
kidding. That's not a real question. No. No. Okay. So the real question is the best peak week strategy that works for you and your clients. Do you do any kind of water manipulation? Do you load carbs? Do you load fat, protein? What's your general practice? I've tried everything under the sun. I have what works for
my
me.
peak week strategy is to be almost ready a week out. I mean, time it to where you look as good as you're going to look on stage.
You should be able to do everything wrong and still look great if you did your prep properly.
Right. To me, peak week, if someone tells you that they can make a drastic change in what they look like, I really highly doubt that. I mean, if anything, you start messing around with your electrolytes.
Because that's something I've noticed, and that's something I've noticed in NPC too. In NPC, everybody's got their approach where it's like, oh yeah, like we cut water on this day, and then we do this, and then we eat a whole bunch of rice cakes, and then we go do this, and then we hit the sauna, and then we dry out. All right, and then we go, and it's like I don't really see that in natural bodybuilding. It's like you are. It's like you're relaxed. You wake up and you go do the freaking bodybuilding show and you have a good time.
Yeah,
that's most natural bodybuilders. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I'm detailed about everything. Like I know exactly how much sodium I'm going to do, how much water I'm going to do, when I'm going to cut it, like all that stuff. But like it's it shouldn't make or break your prep. That shouldn't make or break how you place. Like you either have a pro physique on Monday of peak week or you don't. And anything between Monday and Saturday is only to just try to bring it out and enhance it a little bit.
Or not
That's all a
screw it
peak
up.
week is. But yeah, it doesn't turn a shitty physique into a good physique though. Sorry, end of rant.
Right. Yeah. Because we always say, when the sperm hit the egg, you really can't beat that sometimes. Genetic part of it. But you're right. I mean, it's like this. It's better to be prepared, be looking great the week of the show, and then you feel really good about where you're going to be. Now you're just posing, dialing everything in, making sure everything's perfect for the day. And that week you may want to watch what you're doing a little bit, but the whole idea is to not screw it up. I mean, it's
for sure.
I've just seen too many things go the other direction. And what's so crazy, I'll see people a week out from the show and they'll be at the gym, they're looking, they look pretty tight, look good. And then you see them at the show, it looks like someone took took a hose and stuck up their butt, and they look like they're just bloated as can be. Well, and here's the thing. Think about this. Especially if you're a keto guy like you and I, well, you probably not a good idea to throw a bunch of carbs at it too long. Because now your body's going to go, oh, wait a minute, fight or flight, aldosterone.
But particularly one that's high in fiber, carbs that are high in fiber. That's always the problem that I had the next day was the bloat. It's like I could pack away the glycogen like a mother effort. I mean, like with no problem at all. But you know what? I want to share with you some research that I did actually late last night on bloat, if you don't mind. But like basically, when that fiber, if it's whether whether it's soluble or insoluble fiber, when it gets into your stomach, there's a bacteria in your stomach that has a symbiotic relationship with your body, and it helps you break down whatever it is that you're eating. But it can't digest fiber because we're not we're not cows. We're like a lot more similar to lions, actually, in terms of our digestive structure. So we're eating something that's actually foreign to the body, and then and then all those bacteria start multiplying like crazy, trying to digest something that they just flat out can't. And so that creates gases, that creates inflammation. You put the two of them together. Yeah, try doing a freaking vacuum pose the next day. You can't do it.
Yeah, you just create a bomb in your stomach, basically. Yeah. Yeah, you mess up that flora, your microbiome, balance.
You created what you created is my wife was just explaining to our babysitter right now before we recorded this how to make sourdough bread. My wife is totally keto carnivore, but she does enjoy her sourdough bread from time to time. It's like her thing. She's Italian. Yeah, for sure. And it's actually only 3 ingredients too. So if you're gonna make bread, that's like the healthiest way to do it, right? I don't know. But she's like showing what the science experiment looks like, and I'm like, that's what happens when you eat fiber. It's that same thing. It's sugar plus
Wow. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
No,
Bless you.
you're spot on.
Fiber, sugar plus fiber plus bacteria. Sugar plus fiber plus bacteria plus yeast equals fermentation, aka alcohol in your gut. Like it's basically the same chemical reaction. And you're doing that to your body. It creates glycation, it creates inflammation, and that's the lead domino, and things just shit that just hits the fan after that from there.
And that's what basically eating a lot of sugar does to anybody. You fermentate, and a good friend of mine, he's actually got pancreatic cancer. He's not in good shape, and I started doing a lot more research. I mean, I know how it's good for cancer too. And I think it's Dr. Seafried. Anyway, he's at Boston College. And you may have seen this guy, and they talk about as far as ketogenic type diets for cancer, because what it does, it mitigates the inflammation and the fermentation of sugars and all that, which cancer loves. So if you can stop that from happening in your body, it's super kind of like what you're doing, pretty much. That higher fat and moderate protein and really low carbs. That's actually very, very good in their book, as for what they're saying as far as for cancer too. So that what you just said confirms.
I know that. Yeah, my macros are basically an anti-cancer diet. Yeah,
it really is. Yeah, look this guy up. He's like Boston College professor, and they're talking about it. It's pretty interesting. But see, this is the kind of good stuff that I like to. I'm a little older now. It's more like a health type thing. But seriously, everything that you're doing, you don't realize that it's actually very good for long-term health too, according to what these guys Now, if you go mainstream, they're going to tell you go vegetarian diet.
Most of my clients are So most of my clients have actually been on the carnivore diet and keto for much longer than I am, because of reasons that you're describing. They don't want to get cancer. They don't want to have they cut fiber out because they're getting constipated or because their stools are too big or whatever, and so take fiber out of your diet, and that's going to be like one of the best days of your life when you stop eating it, in my opinion, from everything that I know now. But these people come to me as a bodybuilding coach, and I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of the one that came to the carnivore diet because of bodybuilding, where most people come to it for the reasons that you really should go to it, because it's just a proper human diet. It's just all the food that we should be eating, and none of the food that we shouldn't be eating.
I mean, my whole deal was for bodybuilding initially. Then I started reading more and more into it. I'm like going, wow, I'm just going to do this all the way because I feel good on it for one. And as far as I said, when I was like, after I was 35 years old, didn't want to go around life fat and stupid. I got the fat thing down, but like the stupid thing's kind of still there a little bit. So I got to still work on that one.
Jokes aside, though, I've mental clarity, dude. I mean, mental clarity and creativity. I mean, that's a reason to be on the ketogenic diet in the first place. I'm practicing. I'm playing for 2 bands right now for Chevy Walker Music. We're doing 12 songs at our next show. Most of them are his original songs. We're covering, I don't know if you know any of these songs, but Lights and Sounds by Yellow Card, Damn It by Blink 182. We're playing a couple Green Day songs. It's like all punk rock. Anyway,
Cool.
that and then I'm on our worship team at our church, and so as a musician now, pre-carnivore, after carnivore, like I can get lost in the zone and like not having that brain fog, man. Like it's made me a better musician, dude. Made me a better human being in all areas of life, and I really just don't miss how I feel before I transitioned.
I mean, seriously, it's like
I don't miss
anytime
who I was in a lot of ways.
yeah, it's so crazy too. It's just like when you're a bodybuilder, you know how when you change a certain thing within an hour later, you can see the difference in your body. You know what I mean? Because you're so lean, you can see these things happen. Well, it's like
Yeah.
when you do this kind of a diet and then you go eat a bunch of food. I mean, I'm just talking high sugar type foods where go to somebody's birthday party. Hey, I'm gonna partake. Man, the next day you feel like you're hungover. You've been drinking or something. It's that significant because because your body
Yeah.
does get very sensitive more so because once you've gone away from this stuff. I mean, you can really tell a difference. I mean, you feel it pretty quick. You just feel a little tired. I mean, I'll just sometimes if I do that, I'm like I'm asleep. I mean, I'll just could be an old man thing too, but
Yeah. Speak, speaking of speaking of alcohol and speaking of carbs and speaking of being hungover, um, the drummer in the band that I'm playing with, this guy has actually he got on the carnivore diet a few weeks ago, and he's actually doing great, man. He's losing weight, like he's just loving it. Like I'm so proud of this guy.
that's
Um,
funny.
but the only thing that he's still doing is he's still drinking a lot of beer. But other than that, he's totally carnivore. So like, how much do you think that's killing his results, man? Like as long as he's losing weight, should just keep drinking beer, and then as soon as that doesn't work, then you got to cut beer out.
Just put it this way, he'll probably never get down to like 5% body fat.
Yeah,
He'll-
yeah, yeah. And
yeah,
he doesn't want to
he's
be.
gonna
He
drop.
doesn't need to be. He looks pretty good.
Yeah, he's gonna drop, to a point, and it's gonna go eat. Just because it's gonna stop it if he does.
Yeah,
But the good thing is at
yeah.
least balancing a little
D-
bit.
d-
I mean, if everybody would actually eat a decent diet,
yeah,
then they could have a few beers on a weekend or whatever, that kind of thing. So, I mean, it's a reward, and you're probably gonna live a lot
for
longer
sure.
for one. But so,
I think I'm just so proud of this guy because like I just don't know anybody around here that's really keto carnivore. Like I'm the black sheep at my gym. I'm the only keto guy there. Like everybody else is like eating bananas like on their way to the
I know.
gym and eating them after the gym, right? Like having smoothies because like people just don't really know what the keto diet is here half the time. But like,
Right.
are you the black sheep at your gym too? Are there other keto people where you're at?
You tell people about it, and yeah, I kind of thought about it, and then you hear someone saying, "Well, I've done it. It just didn't work good, and I couldn't sustain." The same thing you always hear. But let's face it, most people can't sustain a
It's the
low
same
fat
one or
diet
two
either.
excuses every time.
But most people can't sustain a low
Yeah.
fat. The rules of the road of anything when it comes to diet. So
That,
that's really not an
that's
excuse.
harder to sustain, man. I can't. Yeah, dude. I had one client that had cake this weekend, and I had one client that had chocolate yesterday. And I told them both of them, like, hey, I'm proud of you. You can eat you can eat that and stop and come back. Like I can't, man. Like if you see me eating cake, it's like, oh man, I don't know. Like
Look
you
out.
better be worried about me because I never eat cake. Like if I
Right.
do, I'm selling the place out.
Well, see, I think and that's another thing too. I think the hardest part about what we do in bodybuilding is actually the post contest reversing out. And people say, oh, I'm going to reverse. I want to stay lean.
Oh
And
yeah,
next thing you know,
yeah,
you see
yeah,
them a month later and they've gained 20 pounds, 'Cause it's like their eyes roll back in their head
yeah.
because they've been denied, so much food. But see, I just really believe that, the high fats taste good for one. I mean, if anybody took a protein supplement and throws heavy whipping cream in it, right? I mean, you're talking 0 carbs. You're just throwing fat in there, throw some ice in it. That thing tastes like a vanilla shake because of that heavy whipping cream in there.
It
It's
tastes
amazing.
amazing. Yeah, dude,
I
I do it.
know.
Yeah, I do it all the time. Like I just that was my last YouTube video. Was just like, look, here's how easy protein ice cream is, and it tastes great. Like, yeah, if you're
I
eating ice
know.
cream every day and then you eat this, it's gonna taste like shitty ice cream. But if you
You know,
never eat ice cream and you're otherwise like on a meat based diet, then it tastes pretty damn good, dude.
right. It's funny too because when people see you, they see you're really lean or whatever. Being older, they go eat a burger. I go all the time. The whole
Yeah,
thing
for
is
sure.
like you don't eat any fat or like that's what I live on. What do you mean? Well,
That's
that's
actually all that I eat. That's the only
that's
thing
what
that
I
I eat.
do. And they go, "Oh, you're one of
You got
those
any you
guys."
got any extra that I can have?
That's why I get
Yeah,
a kick out of that. It's just funny because
cool.
people don't understand it, you know. And
Are you
what's interesting is, go ahead.
oh no, wherever you're going with that, go for it.
Oh, but what's interesting when you talk to people about, I always think in terms of bodybuilding with it too. But then like I was talking about the every third day thing. You start thinking about just a normal person just wants to lose some weight or keep themselves in shape. That's really why I kind of like going there with that because, like you say, it keeps them on the diet. You got to have a reward at some point, and you also got to offer
Mhm.
different ideas of how to eat. I mean, I'm a guy I can eat, a, like a hamburger patty, cheese, and a salad every meal, pretty much. I mean, I'll get up in the morning, have my 5 or 6 eggs. I have my 6 strawberries and maybe a little half a banana. I'm good. I'm used to that, but I like that. I mean, I like that kind of food. It's not like it's a
Yeah,
burden for me, but so yeah, it's pretty interesting. Try to gear it towards the mainstream,
definitely.
but the problem is you get so much, the sugar. I mean, let's face it, sugar's addictive. We all know that. It's hard, and getting someone. I always tell people
Been
it's really tough
proven
the
in rat
first
studies
few
to be more
weeks.
addictive than crack cocaine.
That's right. The first few weeks, you're going to be looking in the cabinet, looking at stuff and the cookies and all that stuff. The kids. And you gotta walk away. And once you get past that 2 week window, usually you don't really crave it anymore. So. But all right, brother. I think we're
Yeah,
good. What do you think, man?
we had a daddy daughter date.
Did you?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, we had a we had, what's that? What's
I
that?
mean, my wife is
Can you
watching the
hear me?
door. I can hear you now. Yeah.
Oh, okay, my bad. Okay, good. Yeah, we went. Sorry, just last thing. We went on a daddy daughter date a few days ago to the mall, and I was playing guitar, actually this guitar, and just watching her eat Cinnabon. But I don't know, like it was just really cute. Like it was just really entertaining. I just thought it was really cute. But like a year ago, like I don't think I could have done that. But like now that I've been keto for a year, it's like okay, like I can smell Cinnabon and not freak out and be like, wow, I have to
Yeah.
have some. But yeah,
Yeah.
but
Exactly.
I'm totally with those first couple weeks. Those first couple weeks, you definitely go through that. Those are tough.
You're absolutely correct.
Cool.
It's like it always.
Where can
I
our
always call it the 2 week window. Yeah.
Yeah, where can our listeners go to find out more about you and Becky, my man?
Well, just go to naturalbuildfitness.com. That's our website for our shows. You can, of course, go on there and find out about us, all that. It's all there. Of course, we have our Instagram pages. It's pretty much under the name of our shows, as well as Facebook. And so if you go to our website, you find the name of our shows, and you go to Facebook, you find Facebook and Instagram, you can find us pretty easy that way. So we're all over the place. And, of course, if you want to
Excellent.
look at the list of Federation shows, you go to www.nanbf.net and go to IPEProElite.com. So, those two, you can do that and find out
Awesome.
more about who we are. You bet.
And guys, if you're a competitor or if you're a first time competitor, anything that is put on by NANBF, like, you can do it and know that it's going to be legit, know that it's going to be fair, know that there's going to be really cool people running the show. I haven't met John like face to face, like actually shaking hands, but I mean, we've done a lot of work together, and I've actually competed in several NANBF shows personally. That's actually where I started. Have nothing but fond memories of that organization, and I don't know, I kind of feel my name being called back there again, so maybe I'll be stepping on a NANBF stage and get looking for an IPE Pro card too. So John, man, it has been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for this. I'm glad when we booked this like a month ago, like, I've just been thinking about it every day since then, like the questions that I'm going to ask. I do not take your time for granted. I got so much respect for you and everything that you do, and thank you so very much for your time again.
Thank you, Cole. Appreciate it. Everything you're doing is, in my book, is spot on, and much success to you and the wife, and competing and kill it.
Well, that's it for this week on Carnivore Coach's Corner, everybody. Thanks a lot for listening, and make sure to let us know what you thought of this podcast. You can do that directly from your podcast app, or you can send a DM on Instagram to Coach Mark or myself, and you can also email your feedback, questions for us, and more specific topics that you would like us to teach on next. You can send those emails to admin@supersetyourlife.com. Coach Mark and I are both on Instagram. We offer private one-on-one consultations as well as coaching services. And I did not ask John if he's accepting new clients, but I'm pretty sure he is too. So links to schedule, all of those. If you want to talk to any of us, those are in the show notes of this podcast. One last reminder before we sign off, leaving a review only takes like 10 seconds. We really appreciate all those guys. We did not get to #1 in UK bodybuilding contests and UK bodybuilding podcasts, that is, without all of your supportive help throughout this entire journey. So this seriously means the world to us, and I can't thank each and every single one of you that has been writing your reviews and sharing for what you've been doing, because this is it's actually really been helping our growth. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Right below that, in the like on Spotify, for example, in the show notes, right below where it says Q&A, that's where you can tell us what you think of the show. We will always respond when we record the following week, either by reading your review or by discussing the topic that you would like to know more about, or by getting to work on whatever critiques that you have about how we can continue to improve this show. And that's how we communicate, as a dialogue, not a monologue, in this very intimate conversation that we call Carnivore Coach's Corner. Share this with a friend if you found it helpful, please. We'll catch you next week on session number 59.